listening to the Why Boarding School podcast, broadcasting around the world. Join us as we promote independent boarding schools throughout the United States and Canada with our invited guests. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jeffrey Quebec.
Welcome to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and today I'm joined by the Director of Admission at Trinity-Pawling School in Pawling, New York, Jeff Beck. Welcome, Jeff. It's great to have you here today.
Hi, Jeff. Great name. I appreciate the invite. I'm excited to share everything that Trinity-Pawling has to offer for our boys and as a school here in the Northeast.
Very nice. So back in 1907, Trinity-Pawling School was founded as an all-boys school. Originally known as the Pawling School, it was renamed to Trinity-Pawling School in 1947. Aside from a brief period between 1973 and 1985 when girls attended the school as day students, Trinity-Pawling School has remained an all-boys school. Jeff, perhaps you can start off by giving our audience a brief overview of the number of students at Trinity-Pawling School, the grades you offer, where the students come from, etc.
Yeah, thank you again. And so Trinity-Pawling School is considered a small boarding school by size. So we are 270 students, 275 students in total. We are a little bit over 80% boarding, so it's just a little bit over 200, 210 in terms of the boarding size, but that does make us predominantly boarding. We have students from over 25 states here in the United States and as well over 20 plus countries represented. So the geographic diversity within the United States as well as outside of the United States is quite impressive for that small boarding school size. That's where our students are generally coming from. But most of those kids that are coming to any boarding school are going to be within that 3-hour radius of campus. Most of them are driving distance, but we're lucky to have kids from all over the world.
That's very nice. And what is the academic curriculum like at Trinity-Pawling School?
Yeah, we use the advanced placement curriculum if you were to look at one or point to one type of curriculum. But what I would say for our boys is that boys' education in general has started to slip, and boys are struggling right now. So what Trinity-Pawling has done is created a really dynamic environment for our boys. Our learning is active, it's engaged. Our class sizes are average 11 boys per class. But that allows our students to be more engaged. Our teachers that we hire are teachers that want to teach boys. And what does that mean, right? It's a teacher that is excited about creating a more dynamic learning environment where there's going to be more collaboration, maybe add a little competition. And that's something that our boys actually then become more engaged with and more excited about pushing themselves in the classroom, especially when you throw in that competition. Boys are going, hey, we got to meet tonight because we can't lose tomorrow in this debate. And so that's where boys that typically don't identify as students, certainly at Trinity-Pawling, go, wow, I actually don't mind school. I don't mind learning when I learn this way. So our curriculum is yes, the advanced placement, but within that, we're going to create an environment that our boys are a little bit more drawn to.
That's awesome. And can you talk a little bit about the support which is offered through the Center for Learning Achievement at Trinity-Pawling School?
Absolutely. So that's one of our signature programs that we have. That Center for Learning Achievement has 3 prongs to it, or if you think of it as an umbrella. So the first is our English Mastery Program, which would be designed for our students that English is not their first language. That English Mastery, some other schools call it ESL, or English as a second language. We have English Mastery. It's a 2-year program, 2 classes the first year, and then a second or third class that second year that a student is enrolled. That's one of the prongs. The other one is a language-based learning program. That's our LEAD program. And that is designed for students with dyslexia, dysgraphia, that need some support. We can do some remediation for those students. It's a modified Orton-Gillingham approach to that program. And then that's also a 2-year 2 classes the first year, 1 class the second year. And then lastly is an executive skills program. And this program is the newest of that Center for Learning Achievement. And that is designed for students that it's boys, right? It's executive skills. It's the organization. It's the procrastination, trying to figure out how we get through that, but also that time management. And that's a big portion of what we're able to focus on in that executive skills. So generally a student that has ADD or ADHD, but again, it's a lot of boys. And so there is additional focus throughout the entire school for boys. So it's not every student that has ADD or ADHD has to be in that program, but it is available for that additional support. Those classes are all taught at a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. So they're very small, they're very dynamic, they're very supportive. And those teachers, the way I like to think about it is, if you've ever been to Disney World, everything on the surface looks like it's running really smoothly, but there's a lot of chaos in the tunnels below, right? And that's what those Center for Learning Achievement teachers are able to do and provide for our students, is that background information to all of the teachers. So their science and math and history, those teachers are all getting that information from that Center for Learning Achievement teacher. Total, about 20% of our student body will be in that CLA overall any given year. So it's a small group of kids, but they do get the support that they need, and it's been tremendously successful.
It seems like this center is not only a wonderful resource for your students, but also for your faculty and staff as they're learning how to best work with these boys.
Absolutely, absolutely. And no two boys are the same. And so that's why it's really important for those teachers to be able to work almost on an individual level to get to know those boys in that Center for Learning Achievement, and then be able to share what those best practices are for how that boy learns, how that boy refocuses, how that boy is encouraged, or what that boy is struggling with right now. And then furthermore, that self-advocacy, right? That's really what we want our boys to be able to learn. And those Center for Learning Achievement teachers are the ones that are really driving that bus, if you will, to help those students understand how to get the most out of our education.
And Jeff, can you tell me a little bit about the visual and performing arts offerings?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a tremendous program, and I think that comes from the fact that boys are confident and willing to try new things. I think that's what's pretty unique about this all boys environment, is that boys end up feeling vulnerable, which is a good thing, right? And vulnerability allows boys to grow. That's where growth happens, and they push themselves. So that performing arts program and our arts in general, it is a requirement to be a part of at least one art class. We have everything from woodworking, sculpting, to drawing, painting. You name it, we have it. But then within the performing arts, we have 3 different programs each year that we'll do, sometimes plays, sometimes musicals. We just wrapped up Lord of the Flies, which was our winter play this past year, which was great. But again, we will also use Pawling High School. If there is a need for girls to be involved in that performing arts, we will have girls from Pawling High School join us. But Lord of the Flies we were able to pull off with just our boys, which was quite fun and really, really enjoyable.
Jeff, we discussed earlier the Center for Learning Achievement as being one of the special signature programs at Trinity-Pawling School. Can you share with us any other special signature programs that the school might have?
Yeah, I would point to 2. One is what we do on Saturdays. It's our Institutes for Active Learning. So the institutes are environmental stewardship, entrepreneurship, leadership, and citizenship. And so somewhat on a rotating schedule, each Saturday from around 9:30 in the morning, let the boys sleep in a little bit, until around 11 or 11:30, each Saturday, boys are going to be exposed to one of those 4 areas. Again, environmental stewardship, entrepreneurship, citizenship, and leadership. The reality is that each one of those categories is vast. They are not narrow categories, and so that allows a lot of exploration. What that looks like for boys, though, is, from a weekend, there might be 8 to 10 different projects that are happening that boys will then get to choose what they're doing. That autonomy is certainly something that boys are drawn to. Not saying girls wouldn't be, but I know boys for a fact are drawn to that autonomy. When they get to choose something, they tend to be more engaged with it. They tend to be more involved with it, and they tend to be more excited about it. So it doesn't feel like it's learning. So that Institutes for Active Learning takes place every Saturday morning. The second program, or signature program, or third if you count the CLA as one of them, would be our winter session. So that is the time period between the end of our Thanksgiving break and the beginning of our winter break, kind of that no man's zone. What was happening for us was that whatever we taught between that time period in early December through mid-December, we ended up having to reteach it in January. And as a school, we felt like one of our most precious commodities is time with our boys, right? And we were almost wasting that time because we weren't getting enough out of the students. And so we have revamped that time period called our winter session. So 7th through 10th graders will do winter projects. Again, Those are interdisciplinary, 10 to 12 different projects that boys can choose from, and they are only working on those projects during that time. They're assigned with those 2 different faculty members. There are multiple check-ins every day, culminating in different types of outcomes, right? Typically not a test or a written paper, but I can say that I was a part of the students were doing a baseball negotiation and class, if you will, or winter session project. And so they were negotiating on behalf of Gleyber Torres at the time and the New York Yankees. And so it was working with them. And I will say half the boys had never even seen a baseball game.
That's awesome.
There were a couple boys that were international that were like, okay, well, I don't even know what stat is important to be able to bring up in this conversation right now. They got to visit the Baseball Hall of Fame. They watched some baseball videos. They talked. They worked throughout that time period to learn and then be able to push themselves forward in that. So that's an example of what a winter project might be. But there's a lot of other things that we'll do outside. And ultimately, all those winter projects could be categorized back to those institutes, right? They pretty much all fall into those categories. The juniors will do a unique project during this time. It's the global, our Global Collaborative Challenge, our GCC. So we're going to give juniors, we'll put them in groups of 5 or 6 students. We'll give them a world problem. Should we have more or less nuclear energy? What should we do about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch? There is no right or wrong answer about these questions. And adults with unlimited time and resources seemingly can't figure out these problems either. But we're giving them to our boys and force them to collaborate and come up with a 12-minute presentation in for or against whatever that question or topic might be. There has been a lot about the NCAA NIL recently too, so those are some other interesting topics that our boys have covered. And then lastly, our seniors will do a senior independent project. The senior independent project was really kind of the first of what we started to do. It's about a decade old now. And that's where you're hearing that buzzword for colleges, right? The passion projects. Our boys have been doing that for over a decade now, just under the name of Senior Independent Project. Everything from, we had a boy learn how to weld. We have students that will put together art portfolios. We have other students that have done charity games where they've raised money for different charities that were important to them. We've had students shadow doctors and lawyers. We've had students that put together our acceptance video, right? They're excited about multimedia, and certainly I'm happy to save some money in the admissions office and allow them to show their creative side. And so there's a multitude of opportunities for within that senior independent project for boys. But that's our 3, if you will, signature programs.
So no matter what grade you're in, these seems like unbelievable opportunities here during that break.
Well, it provides an opportunity for boys to collaborate, and it also allows them to experience that independence of working alone. And I think that's something that for colleges, what they're looking at anymore is, what have you done collaboratively? What have you done independently? And our boys can not only speak accurately and articulately about it, but they're excited about what they did because they've chosen what they're doing. And so that's where that level of, I won't say intensity, but intentionality on our side to provide them those opportunities, it does create a fun environment for them.
And an awesome use of that time period. That's great.
Absolutely.
So, Jeff, how about athletics? Is every student required to play a sport each season? And also, what are some of the athletic offerings that Trinity-Pawling has?
Yeah, I will say, being an all-boys school, it's rare for me to meet a student that starts off talking about their academic achievements. Most all boys are going to start with their athletic prowess and how they see themselves and identify. And for that matter, we're as an all-boys school going to provide those opportunities. So yes, boys are required to be involved in an afternoon activity. It doesn't have to be sports, right? It could be the performing arts, which we touched on earlier. We also have we call it our varsity farming program. It's not a competition to grow the biggest pumpkin, but it's a program that continues to grow and become more popular. We have a student this year that's graduating and going to the agricultural program at Cornell, which is pretty impressive. But that was a student that came here because of that program. So it's a little unique on our end. But yes, we do have the athletics on the other side, right? And so we play in what is the Founders League, top to bottom, arguably one of the most competitive leagues in the Northeast and certainly potentially throughout the entire country. our programs that are kind of really recognizable would be our football, soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, and lacrosse programs on a national level. Those varsity programs, the students that are playing there, they do have aspirations of playing at the collegiate level or beyond. But we have the junior varsity programs, right? So for those students that might be younger that are developing, and I would say what I love about our program is that we do see boys move from JV to varsity. There are enough boys, there is enough attention, there's enough ability from the coaching standpoint to develop those boys at the lower levels. And then we have kind of a thirds or club level as well for those boys that just say, hey, I love soccer, I just want to play, I don't have any aspirations, I just want to have fun with this. So a lot of different levels, but a lot of opportunities for boys to take advantage of our athletics.
I like how there's not only the different levels, but also the opportunity for that growth and development and movement within those levels.
It's really important, and I think, from a boarding school, if you look at our entire, landscape right now, it's something that a lot of students, they want that varsity, jacket. They want that varsity label, and there's time and development that needs to happen. And for those students that come in as a 9th grader or 10th grader, they can feel nervous about, hey, I'm never going to get to that level. I think that's where we have shifted our focus to those younger levels to develop boys and allow them to grow and give them that platform so that they can strive and achieve their goals, and not just try to replace boys at that 11th grade and 12th grade and postgraduate years. It's not really that fair to those younger kids growing up here on campus.
All right, Jeff, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation talking about the Trinity-Pawling School in Pawling, New York.
Do you have any questions or guests that you'd like to see on an upcoming Why Boarding School podcast? You can contact us directly through our website at whyboardingschool.com. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the Why Boarding School podcast. I'm Jeff Quebec, and today I'm joined by the Director of Admission at Trinity-Pawling School in Pawling, New York, Jeff Beck. And Jeff, as we continue our conversation, perhaps you can share with our audience, what is a typical school day like at Trinity-Pawling?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our boys will start off with a morning meeting. Sometimes that'll take place in the chapel, sometimes in our theater, but that'll be at 8:30 a.m., so a little bit of a later start to the day, if you will. It also allows our boys to get up and not just walk right into the classroom. It gives them a little bit of a hello, I'm here, to let that morning air catch me, and I'm ready to go. Get some oxygen flowing through the veins. Then class will be from around 8:55, 9 a.m. in the morning through around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. We are on a 7-block rotating schedule, so each student will typically take 5 classes. Some will take 6, but that means that every day we have 6 blocks, and therefore students might be taking those 5 classes that will meet each 4 days a week. So you're looking at typically 2 free periods throughout that day of those 6 blocks. Which allows them to do some homework, catch up with teachers, hang out with friends, call mom and dad if the time change is appropriate. But that's something that we feel strongly in there. Following that 3 p.m. period, we go right into our athletics or afternoon activities, which we talked a little bit about earlier, and that runs from around 3:15, 3:30 till around 5:30 or so in the evening, and then that will go right into dinner. From 5:30 to 6:45-ish or so, 7 o'clock when dinner will wrap up. And then they have a little bit of free time. Each student is required to be a part of a club, which generally meets at least once a week. That's that 7 to 8 p.m. time period, which then will run into our study hall. Our study hall is an hour and 30 minutes, which is a little shorter than some of the other schools, and that's by design. Boys struggle to sit down for 2+ hours and do work. Our students are required to do study hall from around 8 till 9:30, but that's what the expectation of amount of homework they're receiving is, about an hour and 30 minutes of homework. And so that allows boys to get that work done in a timely fashion and be prepared for the class the next day. They have a little bit of time to get those last little energy out, or if they're hungry, swing over to our student center, the cave as we call it, and grab a bite to eat before heading back and hitting the sheets 10:30 or 11 o'clock, depending on the grade that you're in.
Very nice. And earlier, Jeff, you discussed the programming that takes place on Saturdays. What else takes place during the weekends at Trinity-Pawling? Are there different events or clubs on campus, maybe trips off campus?
Yeah, vibrant opportunities for the weekend. So we have that institutes in the morning, followed by the afternoons. We have our games generally, right? So our
Okay.
athletic contests will take place Saturday afternoon. If it's a home game, you're obviously not traveling to and from, but away games, you'll have time to get away from campus and get back that evening. We have 5 all-girls schools that we will coordinate with. So there's typically every weekend a chance to go to an all-girls school, or we're having girls come to us, which is, we're not trying to keep boys from girls, but we're allowing boys to focus on their academics and their passions throughout the week, and then we'll provide those social opportunities on the weekends. But our proximity to New York City, which is about an hour and 20 minutes north, directly north, located on a Metro North train line, which goes right into Grand Central. We're very fortunate for that because we're able to get down to New York City quite often. So as an all-boys school, we also focus on food. Our boys love to eat, right? So we'll go to different restaurants, different culinary experiences. New York City, we'll get down to Broadway shows. We'll go to Rangers, Knicks, Yankees, Mets, you name it. We'll get to those sporting events. We'll also get into museums and different art shows that are happening down in New York as well that boys are excited to get down and off campus for. Again, a lot of that's driven because they're going to be able to swing by a favorite pizza place down in New York City or someplace that they can grab a bite to eat. But there's a ton going on campus as well. But again, our boys love to just, not required to do that. They sometimes love to just hang out, watch TV, relax with their buddies, go play some 3-on-3 basketball, get out on the ice, skate around. There's a lot of opportunity for that too on the weekends.
That's awesome. Lots of fun things to do.
Of course.
So going back to the all-important question about food, what are the meals like at Trinity-Pawling School? Are they served sit-down? Are they buffet? Are they required? How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So they are sit down for lunches on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So those are 4 days that our entire school will get together, or 4 times, I'll say. There's an additional 4 times throughout the week that we get together as an entire school through those morning meetings. So post-COVID, a lot of schools kind of shifted away from gathering as an entire school. We went the other direction, and that was partially because we were working with our boys and asking what they missed. And I think that for boys, that sense of belonging is really, really important. There's that tribal nature that boys have, and it's that sense of belonging is important for girls too, right? So not to leave that out, but as an all-boys school, we focus on boys. And so getting together as an entire school 8 times a week is important. 4 of those are those sit-down lunches where they're going to be assigned a seat with a teacher and other students, and we'll rotate every 3 to 4 weeks, and so they'll get to meet new students and new teachers and expose them to new people on campus. One of the sit-down lunches is with their advisor, and that'll be a mainstay throughout the week or throughout the year as well. And so that's an opportunity for that advisor to have a check-in outside of the kind of academic, if you will. But it does create a great camaraderie and atmosphere for our boys. The breakfast and dinners are all served at a buffet style. What I can tell you about the food is that our dining hall has done a tremendous job, and that staff has done a tremendous job at listening to the boys and what they want. I remember when I was at boarding school, I was looking for the chicken fingers and French fries and burgers and, where's all the junk food? Our boys want fuel for their bodies, and I think that they want those lean proteins. They want fresh vegetables. They really do want to, they are cognizant about what they're eating and conscious about how they're taking care of their bodies. And our dining hall responds to that, right? So having the salad bars, having the lean proteins available, the chickens, the rice, the different options that we have for our boys is certainly available. And if boys like things, they're able to share that. If they dislike things, they're able to share that. And I think that creates a good camaraderie for our dining hall staff and our boys to be able to provide them what they're looking for. But there's tons of options, and that's the one word I would point to is options for our students in the dining hall. It's typically not, hey, here's your food, you got to eat it. It's here's a lot of different options. Figure out what works best for you.
Well, that feedback and that dialogue between the students and the dining hall staff certainly seems like a great example of Trinity-Pawling being student-centered.
Absolutely. It's a place that we will say student-centered, but ultimately it's an experience that families, when they visit campus, they see it. When boys are walking up and down, on the quad or walking up and down the hill to the dining hall, they're looking at kids. They're looking at families and parents and kids in the eyes, shaking hands, saying hello. They're not looking down at their phones. They're involved, but it's also because that's the environment that we've created as a school.
Very nice. And Jeff, can you tell me a little about dorm life? What's dorm life like at Trinity-Pawling?
Yeah, so having a little over 80% of our students as boarding students, it's the main portion of what our school focuses on, right? And so those dorms are smaller. There's 8 residences on campus. Anywhere from 12 to 15-ish is the smallest, to the dorm hall. If in one of our bigger dorms would be probably 20 students or so, but that's how they're kind of broken out. Those dorms have dorm parents, sometimes families, sometimes just one faculty member that will be there with those boys. We actually recently just completed renovations on all of our bathrooms and our common rooms to update and spruce up those spaces to make them more appealing, if you will, in terms of the dorm common rooms. So those are places that boys like to congregate, and we want to make sure that we're providing the right type of environment for them. But those dorm rooms, they're well lit. They have everything that boys need: beds, desks, dressers, drawers, closets. But they have the flexibility to design those rooms how they'd like, right? And with their roommates, I'd say about 95% of the rooms are 2 students to a room. There's a handful of 3-student rooms, and then quite a few, not quite a few, but there's a handful of singles, which tend to be snapped up by seniors by the time they have those options. But the dorms are also involved in our dorm Olympics. So there is some pride that boys do take in their dorms every year, and that will take place throughout the fall and winter. There's also other opportunities for boys to kind of come together as a dorm, that we create hall feeds and things like that boys generally enjoy.
Oh, coming back to the food again, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a boys' school at the end of the day.
So, Jeff, earlier you referenced the advisory groups eating with their advisor in the dining hall for a meal each week. Can you share with us how the advisor system works at Trinity-Pawling School?
Yeah, so to talk about the advisor program, I'd have to kind of go back and talk about the mentorship of the faculty, right? And I think that's something that's really important to us. We have the McGregor Robinson faculty mentorship program, or an orientation when faculty start. And so it kind of goes all the way back to how our faculty are introduced to the school and how they're brought in and mentored. And all of the faculty at Trinity-Pawling, well, 75% of our faculty are male, which is the national average reverse, right? Most boarding schools and most high schools in the United States are 75% female teachers. So our boys have a lot of mentors to look up to. Those advisors are meant to be kind of that bridge or the connection between the parents and the school. So instead of a parent having to call, every math, science, history, and language teacher, they can call the advisor to check in on that student. But that student-advisor relationship is really important, right? And it's something that our boys do rely on, that mentorship of the advisor, to be a sounding board. What classes should I be taking? How do I handle this situation? What could I be doing better? Or, hey, I'm not playing enough on my hockey team. What do you think I could do to impress coach more? Those are the conversations that are happening. And for those boys that we have that come from the South, they're going, how do I get a warmer jacket here in the winter, right? So those conversations don't need to be as heavy as every conversation, but are meant to be kind of that de facto mentor. But those advisors will meet a couple times a week, including, as I mentioned earlier, during lunch. But they have an opportunity to kind of really grow with that student. After the first year, if students are making a better connection with a different faculty member, they're welcome to switch. And I've had students switch out of my advisory, and guess what? I'm still there for those boys. If they need me, I'm always happy to help. We want them to find those mentors. We can't assign a mentor. That's impossible, right? But we want boys, and it's important for boys to have mentors. If they find it somewhere else, great. Let them explore that, and we'll always be here to support.
Jeff, would you say, is there a typical Trinity-Pawling School student?
Yeah, so I like to look at it as kind of there's 5, I guess you could say, character traits or portraits of a graduate. If you look at when we're interviewing students, we're looking for these types of traits. I don't expect every boy to have all of these traits. I do know that boys, when they graduate from Trinity-Pawling, they are certainly not fully developed in these areas, but they are aware of them, and that awareness is something that's really important. One I would say is a critical thinker, right? An independent and critical thinker, somebody that's able to come up with their own opinions and thoughts and ideas. That's important, especially in this time, in this world where social media, news, you have to be able to derive your own thoughts, right, and your own beliefs. from what you read and what you see, what you hear, and reading both sides of that is important to that critical thinking. Thoughtful collaborator, right? We talked about that global collaborative challenge, the winter projects that our boys are assigned with, the institutes, the way the individual classes are designed. We do a lot of collaboration. So boys that are able to collaborate. Ethical citizens. We have kids from all over the world, all over the country, all different backgrounds. I think that it's really important for our boys to understand, respect, and see something that's different as a positive. And I think that's an important way to look at that kind of ethical citizenship. Self-awareness, right? This is a lifelong journey of self-awareness. Everybody's always working on. So again, I don't expect every boy to have that in ACEs coming to our school, but awareness of that, self-aware and how their actions, their words affect others, how their relationship with their roommate is being defined by their actions. That's an important factor. And lastly, is an effective communicator. We have public speaking opportunities, classes. Boys, and we'll say girls as well, especially teenagers, are not always first to line up to get up and public speak. I think that we develop that confidence and skill set in boys that they do want to do that. And that can be evidenced by our chapel talks. We have more students signed up to do chapel talks than we have chapels remaining in the year, which is a really cool fact. And those chapel talks are really unique. Boys are able to share experiences that they have that are important to them or impactful in their lives. And also they want to impart that information on the younger students and how they could take advantage of their opportunities at Trinity-Pawling. But public speaking and communication, also in the written form, is really important and something that we focus on too.
And those are all certainly some great life skills, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Are there any cool traditions at Trinity-Pawling School that may be unique from other schools? Or Jeff, perhaps there's that one tradition that you hope always remains part of the school?
Yeah, and I will say I wasn't ready for it. It's called Stepping Up. And so it's the last day that the entire student body and faculty are all together before parents descend upon the school for commencement. And so it's really the last time we're all together as just a student body and faculty. It's kind of a cool experience to think of it that way. But we go into the chapel and there is the passing out of awards. There is also the handing off of leadership roles from our senior prefects to the juniors that were elected as the new prefects for the following year. And that culminates in our seniors leaving the chapel first and heading out to our quad and lining our quad, followed by faculty, 11th graders, 10th graders, 9th graders, 8th graders, 7th graders. I was not prepared for the amount of tears. I picked the wrong faculty member to stand behind my first year, and I felt like every student had some incredible connection with that particular faculty member, and there were tears and hugs, and it's really moving. It's really powerful to see boys being willing to be vulnerable, willing to be able to share their gratitude for the experiences that they had at Trinity-Pawling, and it's symbolic in that, hey, we're recognizing you as seniors. We're excited about your next adventure. We appreciate everything you've done for the school, and those boys are then giving back and saying thank you to those faculty members. So my first year, I definitely wasn't ready for that. I was getting choked up as I was walking down the line. I've since been better at picking my the people I'm standing in front of and behind at that traditional event that we have, that Stepping Up. But that's one of the ones that's really cool that I could easily point to.
Very nice. And so, Jeff, before we speak about admissions, is there anything about Trinity-Pawling that we didn't discuss today that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily Trinity-Pawling. I think it's why all boys. And I think that overall, and this is hopefully in support of all boys' education, boys are struggling, right? As a whole, boys are struggling, and you could use pretty much any measure, right? Whether that would be the number of boys going to college is being far outpaced by girls, the number of boys graduating from college, the number of boys that are motivated to do well in school right now. You could look at any and every metric. Boys are struggling. And that's unfortunate, right? Our boys are that are teenagers are fragile, right? They might not look that way, they might not act that way, but they need confidence, they need growth, and they want to learn. Boys love learning, and so creating an environment for them to learn is really important. When you're looking at those statistics, and 80% of the valedictorians, right, the best student in any high school are females right now. Boys are not dumber than girls. They're just not being motivated in the right way. And when you put them in an environment like Trinity-Pawling, where we know how to teach boys, we know how to engage them, we build their confidence in the classroom, right? Our boys walk away that first term going, I actually like school, right? And most parents are going, what have you done with my child? They didn't like school before they got here. And I think that's something that we as a school specifically do is know how to teach boys and know how to level with them. And that builds that confidence. And for boys, confidence is really the mainstay of what they need to accomplish anything in life. And that's where for us, that boys' education is important. But we go back to those weekends. We're not keeping boys from girls. We're building their confidence. We're building their self-awareness. We're building them up as individuals to know who they are, to be able to find their gifts and talents, to find their passions. And when boys are confident, they're willing to try new things, that vulnerability we talked about. And if you're not trying new things, you're not growing. And it's really important to find out what you don't like, as well as it is to find out what you do like. That's what we as a school really do, and I know all boys schools do a great job of that.
Well said. So if someone's interested in Trinity-Pawling School, how might they go about starting the admissions process?
Yeah, so like most schools, an inquiry can start, right? So from our website, you can fill out an inquiry form. You're also welcome to call our school. As a small school, we do give quite a bit of individual attention to every applicant that will come through our process. From phone calls with either myself or other admissions officers to when you visit campus, you're getting at least one tour guide, usually 2 tour guides of students to take you around. If you want to connect with a coach or a program director, we're going to make that happen. We want students and families to be able to walk away from an experience on our campus, or if we do a Zoom, we're going to make those connections via email and over the phone. We want students to feel like they're a part of the community as they visit, and understand that that's what happens when they're here, right? It's representative of what our faculty do day in and day out to support our boys. But an inquiry form, a phone call to our office, we're happy to do that. We do honor that. Well, our application deadline is February 1st. We go out with that March 10th decision date with the expectation of April 10, but we also have switched over to rolling admission until our spots are filled. So at this point, if a student or a family is interested throughout the spring or summer, they're welcome to reach out for us.
And Jeff, what is the school's website address?
It's www.Trinity-Pawling, all one word, .org.
Easy enough, Trinity-Pawling.org. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, this is great. I've enjoyed our conversation, learning more about Trinity-Pawling School and sharing with our audience. Thank you very much.
I appreciate the time, Jeff. I thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing the recording. Trinity-Pawling is a wonderful place. Our families love it here. Our kids love it here. I encourage you to visit. We have a lot of really incredible things that are going on, and we look forward to working with anybody and everybody that wants to come through.
Jeff Beck, Director of Admission, Trinity-Pawling School in Pawling, New York.
Thank you for listening to the Why Boarding School podcast. We look forward to you joining us for our next episode. Please remember to subscribe to the Why Boarding School podcast and help us spread the word. Until next time.